Said you can bury the workman, but the work will go on. You can silence the voices, but you can't stop the song.
Welcome to Wheeling the Pathways of Life Unplugged with your host, Brain Fitzpatrick. Wheeling the Pathways of Life Unplugged is a snapshot of the day-to-day experiences of disabled individuals as they navigate the world around us. We wish to shed light and open your eyes on a new perspective of people with disabilities. And by going unplugged, we can discuss viewpoints we hope will challenge our viewers' points of view. Most of us have disabilities we must live with, but what defines us is the way we deal with them. And now, here's your host, Brain Fitzpatrick.
Good afternoon, folks. This is Brain Fitzpatrick, bringing you an episode of Wheeling the Pathways of Life. Today I have another special guest with us. One of the assistant directors, Kelly. She has been with UCP for the last 5 years, working under Kristen and working under Jennifer. Good afternoon, Kelly.
Good afternoon, Brian. How are you doing?
Good. And it was ironic when I talked to you about this. Your main degree was television journalism, so this brings back some memories.
It does in the studio, because I've been here a couple times.
Yeah. So Kelly, let's start off by kind of giving a little bit of your background. How did you start? How did you come upon UCP, and how did that all get started?
Yeah, so I just decided after 8 years, I was ready for a career change. I was working in the restaurant industry, doing serving, catering, bartending, you name it. And I stumbled across an administrative assistant position in the North Adams office, and I thought this would be the perfect entryway to kind of get into something better and something more fulfilling. And I got the job, and in the last 5 years, I've moved up 2 or 3 times now. And now I'm the Assistant Director of Family Support.
Wow. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that you gotta deal with me every once in a while, though.
No, I enjoy seeing you. I get to see you twice a week now.
Yeah. Because part of your role as assistant director is to spend some time in both offices.
Correct. Now I'm kind of splitting my time. That's right.
Yeah. It was funny the other day when I was trying to find you. When I called North Adams, they're like, she's not here today. And I said, oh crap, did she take a day off? And then I said, let me try calling Pittsfield, see if you were in Pittsfield. So, what, when you said fulfilling, that's a good way to continue the conversation. What is the most fulfilling thing you've either come across or done in the last 5 years that has been the biggest fulfilling thing you've done since you've been with UCP?
Yeah, so I think, I kind of came from a career where it was good money. But again, I kind of wanted a place where I could grow, and UCP gave me just that. The members are really what I'm there for. They make my day-to-day wonderful, as well as the staff. So just being able to work at a place, you know, where you love the people you work with and the people you work for, I think is really important. And, you know, for me, the reward has just been helping people in their everyday lives, whether it's been something big or small. I feel like, you know, UCP is a place where that's our goal, right? Is to make people as independent as possible. And if I can do that in little pieces every day, then that's something to enjoy.
And like I corrected Randy when he was on the tagline for UCP is life without limits. And then I said to Randy, I said, you know, that's kind of a misnomer because everybody has limits. Everybody has different things they are better at or things that they can do better than others. So it's a natural limit situation, but I find with most people, most people who deal with the disabled, they don't allow the clients or the consumers to get up to their limit, or their they take their expectations down to the level where the staff thinks that there is. If the staff, I'm not talking about UCP, I'm talking in general, where the staff goes so far, and then as soon as they can't think of the next thing to do with the client, that's it. There's nothing more that the staff will want to do. What I find with UCP is you guys are, and that's one thing I like about going to the two offices is you guys think outside the box.
We do.
What goes on in Pittsfield isn't necessarily what goes on in North Adams.
Exactly, because we have very different members in both offices too, so.
Yeah, and right down to Dan, the maintenance guy. You think he's just maintenance, but he does quite a bit of other stuff along with the maintenance.
He does, yeah.
Includes the clients, he's got one client that helps him keep the office clean and keeps the office, you know.
Yes, yep, she has a part-time job with us, and that's exactly it. She helps Dan kind of maintain the space.
Yeah, I mean, we don't take it beyond their capacity, but we extend the possibilities for the clients because most agencies that I unfortunately or fortunately have had the opportunity to work with as well. The other agencies sit behind the desk and say, oh, we can't do that because we don't get paid for that. But not that the pay and the funding isn't a nice thing to have and isn't important to, I mean, there's some things we need funding for, but UCP just tries to do things outside the box.
And I think that's a good point to bring up too. Like you said, right down to Dan, you know, our administrative staff, all of that. I feel like UCP is a place where everyone kind of jumps in and helps out. They just want everyone's, you know, lives to be better. And I think that's a great thing to have an entire agency working towards that.
You know, I mean, right down to me coming in and doing. Sometimes people may look at me and say, "You know too much." I mean, yes, I know a little too much because I've been there 40 years, so it's, kind of hard not to know things that technically you're not supposed to know. What do you mean? I mean, in reality, I can bring a different perspective
Exactly.
to situations that you guys are talking about.
And you're very knowledgeable.
You could pull me in and say, "Hey, what would you do in a case like this?" Especially when it comes to ADA, communication devices, and stuff like that, because not a lot of people are able to communicate what they need. But I can say, here's what I would say if I couldn't. Here's what I want to be able to say if I couldn't say it. So, I mean.
It's good to have that perspective, and that's why I like you coming in,
So you do like me coming in?
I do, because just like you said, it gives that nice perspective and that knowledgeable source, because you've been here longer than me. So you know things I probably don't even know. So it's just really nice to have that side of it and available.
Yeah, and now that I have your email and now that I keep track of you.
You can email me anytime.
You can use me at any time, and feel free to toss me any
some ideas
question you have.
yeah.
I can come on. Or you could say, "I really need help with this one. Can you come in and..."
Yeah, brainstorm with me,
Yeah, because I can bring a perspective that, yes, some people may say I'm a pain in the butt, but it's because people don't want to, most of the time, I know some of the time they're kidding, but some of the time they just don't want to take the time and listen, or they say to me, "I can't understand him, so I don't have time to sit there and talk to him because..."
But that's the thing, the time. If they had the time, that's all you got to do is just get to know somebody.
It's like grabbing you for 5 seconds the other day before the show. It's like, I knew you were busy, but, this is stuff that's gonna get done.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you gotta put down what you're doing and...
Yep. Especially when you have the commitment.
Step in and stuff like that. Well, I know there's an overall aspect of family supports, but what aspect do you, where would you like to see family support go from your perspective?
So I think in the 5 years I've been here, I think family support has grown. When I first came on, we did not have as many day programs or different options, I should say, for day programs. So since then, now we have quite a few. We still have the children's programming that I oversee. We're hiring more staff. I would really just like to see the agency, and specifically family support, continue that growth and continue to be able to provide these people in the community, with this opportunity and with different day programs and different activities and volunteer opportunities and job skills and all kinds of stuff that they might need.
That's one of the things that I have a severe problem with in some ways, because yes, we could go to college, we could do all this as a normal human being and stuff, but as we know with the federal government and the state government and the financial end, we are so limited as to what we can receive as services. So it's like I never would have the opportunity to do what I'm doing right now because in the technical side and or the health side, you usually need two people to do the technical side.
Yep.
With somebody like me, most agencies and most jobs in this business, they like to do one person because it costs less money to put in one person to do it than having two, because you got a disabled person assisting in doing a job where one person can just do the whole thing. And that is a problem that I think we're going to be working with forever.
Yeah, forever.
That's a situation we're going to change. But my perspective on the whole thing is as much inclusion as we can get and much acceptance for disabled, and hey, just because they're in a wheelchair or just because they can't talk doesn't mean they can't be out in the community doing what they want to do.
Exactly, and that's our goal. Like I said, you know, just to find those things that we can get people out there and get them doing.
And some of the time it takes putting clients in situations where they don't like and stuff, because you gotta learn what they do like and what they don't like. But the communication is the most important thing with the caregivers and the families, and that's one aspect of this thing we can talk about too, is without the families and without the caregivers, we wouldn't have any support at all. So, as much as we try to support the clients and get them what they need, we also gotta make sure that the staff have what they need too.
Absolutely, making sure the family's got everything. You know, it's really a team deal.
And a lot of times, whether it be respite or whether it be just letting the families do what they want to do for a day and taking the client out and going to the office or taking the client to the movies while the families step out.
And that's one of the hard things is respite. You know, now that you brought that up, respite is very hard to find. I'm sure not just in this area, but everywhere, especially for the children and the medically complex. So I think that's something that, you know, in the future, hopefully, we can, not UCP, but the state can grow on and to really help these families out, because I think it's really needed.
Kelly, I hate to push on you, but I mean, maybe that's something you and I can work on, because right now in my position, with my medical complexity, I have to go into a nursing home if I want respite.
That's right.
It's not that I physically don't know what's going on and mentally don't know what's going on. I just can't do things easily by myself without specialized equipment. But then again, if you take me out of my environment at home and stuff and put me in a nursing home, I don't have the specialized equipment that I do at home.
And that's exactly.
So, in the process of doing all this, I am, among other things, and this is going to take a little while, folks, but I am going to be working with Berkshire Medical Center, the director of Berkshire Medical Center, and the Elder Services contract we have.
Very
I
cool.
act like I own UCP, but I don't.
We can say you own it. You have a piece of it.
The Elder Services contract UCP has for Elder Services and use it for AT to kind of get Alexas in there.
Oh, that's a great idea.
The phone systems in there, possibly even Night Owl,
Very cool.
just so people can have some semblance of what they usually have at the house.
That's awesome.
Because believe it or not, and I'm sure you know some of these stories from Kristen pulling her hair out and stuff and some of my situations. There was times even in the nursing home where I had to call Kristen to call the nurse's station and get them down there to check on me to make sure I was okay.
Oh, wow.
Because they weren't responding to me. So I had to text Kristen to
get a hold of, yeah, someone. Jeez.
There was a little more complication than that. It was I can say this on the air because it's public access, and I'm free to say it under the First Amendment, but it was purely because, most of it was purely because I had COVID and nobody wanted to go down there.
Oh.
Deal with me because they had to gown up and they had so many other people. They want to get those done first before they had to gown up and be compromised because of COVID. But still,
That's no excuse, you know.
no excuse.
Everyone deserves the same.
Yeah.
The same all around.
But you see, folks, I don't deal with the same things, and you guys as staff and other clients don't deal with it. But if we all can get together and brainstorm, and I can come into the office either North Adams or Pittsfield and sit down and brainstorm with people like Kristen and Kaylee and come up with these different ideas and say, hey, this is what I've dealt with. How can we make it easier for me and at the same time other people too? And I think that's the main objective, is to make it easier for the disabled community as a whole.
You're exactly right.
Not just me. And the excuses, that's not reasonable to expect that from landlords and stuff like that. Well, that's a problem with the ADA because they got reasonable accommodations. What's reasonable to me is not reasonable to you or...
Exactly, or someone else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So by putting reasonable, you're shutting someone out, no matter what you do. Because reasonable can be...
Very broad.
Yeah. Gary, I know you probably seen it the last time. Do you realize I'm the one in the Pittsburgh School District that had to set up a fire evacuation plan?
I think I did hear
for
that
the
or
whole
pieces of it.
For the whole building,
Wow.
because they didn't have one.
They didn't have one for like you or anyone.
Anyone.
Anyone did. Wow.
Anyone with a disability.
Oh, wow. That's pretty shocking for a school system.
All teachers had to carry their own clients up
Wow.
if they were disabled.
And how do you do that when it's one teacher and say you had a classroom of 2 or 3 disabled students?
Luckily, I had a
Oh, yeah.
paraprofessional, so the teacher and the aide carried me out together. But I literally had a teacher break his back trying to get me out, and literally had a teacher re-injure his back after an injury because he was carrying me out.
So what did you do? What did your plan look like after you put it in place?
And keep this in mind because I would use it anywhere, but in public buildings and or apartment buildings, most apartment buildings and schools have fire doors at the stairwells.
Oh, yeah.
So I was talking to the principal one day, and I was on the student council my senior year, and I said, you know, Mr. Timmons, I said, these teachers are carrying the kids out and they don't need to. He said, what do you mean? I said, where does the fire department go as soon as they get to a building?
That's a good question.
Because they can't use the elevator.
Yep, so they go right to the stairs.
They go right to the stairwells. So if the wheelchairs are at the stairwells, if we're putting the stairwells behind the fire doors, we're good for an hour. If they're rated for an hour, which most public buildings are rated for an hour. So, and it's not going to take an hour for somebody from the fire department to get there.
Right.
And most of the fire departments, to include the one near my house, knows my way out, knows the plan and knows what I go through, but it's little things like that. People don't think that, you know, oh, I can get him out. Well, with my spasticity, as bad as it is when I get nervous and scared in general, you ain't gonna be able to lift me.
And everyone's panicking. It's, you know, you'd like to go by the book, and you do, but in those situations, everything's really heightened.
Yeah.
So
So, my evacuation plan, especially at night, Kelly, you might have a problem with this, and believe me, some people do. If I'm in bed, keep me right where I am.
Oh, yeah.
And get the staff outside.
Mm.
And let the fire department know where I am.
Because no lifting, right?
No lifting with the lift, because it would take too much time, and I would be too stiff. There's no way there's no way one person could do it.
And that's the safest for you, right?
Even though it's risky, but it's a risk. I'm not willing to let somebody else get hurt. Just trying to get me out of the building when theoretically one person can't do it, and knowing that they're trying to do it because they feel like it's their obligation. It's their obligation to take care of themselves too. So that's like.
And is it more risky for you too? Like you just said, you know, the lift, it would take too much time, and it's almost like it's a little riskier on that end as well.
Yeah, because especially if the straps aren't on right.
And again, you're rushing, you're panicking. People make mistakes naturally.
By the time you get me in the lift, the fire department will be there.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
I'm within a minute and a half of the fire department showing up at my door.
Oh, now did you?
I purposely
That's what I was gonna ask you.
am where I am because we're so close. And the police station's less than 5 minutes away from the house too.
Oh, good.
And I'm right
So you're
across.
central.
I'm right across the street from BMC. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad.
Or bad. Well, you sound pretty central to all the, emergency.
Even though
procedures.
the neighborhood's not the greatest, but
But it's good for you, and it's important for you to have access to all of those things you just listed.
So, and Kelly, I want to talk about this too. It is so important to let the clients be where they want to be and do what they want to do.
Absolutely.
As much as the caregivers want to take care of them and want to prevent situations from happening, that's not living. If you're protecting everybody from living, that's not really helping them.
And I think that's what gets challenging is exactly like you said, the caregivers, they're protecting their loved one. But on the same level, it's nice to have people that are kind of pushing them towards that independence and to see what they can do, because sometimes we have members or people that do things and we tell the caregivers and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know he or she could do that.
And you know what the situation is? And people do this to me all the time. And I tell them, if I don't do it, I'm going to get lazy and don't want to do it.
That's a very good point.
That is, even if the straw gets out of the way, even if my straw on my chair gets out of the way or it gets out of the area where I can't reach it, how do I get it if I'm alone?
How would you get it if you're alone? You would, for lack of a better word, you would make do, right? You would do whatever you could to get it, whether
Use
it's
the wall.
moving, I was going to say moving a certain way, positioning a certain way.
Use the wall too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you make it work. You got it.
Back up through the door frame and smack the door frame in such a way that it'll bring the straw around to me.
Around to you. Yep. I was exactly going to say that.
It's not, people would think you're deliberately hitting something. Yeah, because if I don't, I'll be sitting there waiting 2 and 3 hours for someone to come in and get a drink, or I'm calling the person on call, whoever that is, to come in and get my straw. And it's,
You've learned to adapt with a lot of things, not just that. And I think that's a key thing for people with disabilities.
And let me ask you a question. Since I've been in there, I know we haven't talked that much directly, But have you picked up any of my between me talking to Kristen and you learning from Kristen? Have you picked up any skills that you didn't have before? I know you have family members that are disabled, but I mean.
Yeah, I feel like, and I mean, if we're just going to use you as an example, you know, I think just everything about you, from the way you communicate to the way you get around the office, to getting outside of the office, you know, your chair, your devices, because I had never seen a lot of that stuff. And again, not just with you, but maybe a lot of other people, but like the assistive technologies that are out there now, the communication devices. I feel like I've been opened up to a whole world of things that I didn't know about. And when I get to work and meet different people, it's nice to kind of see what they use to adapt. Like what, you know, someone might have the same communication device, but different communication applications.
Okay, what was my first argument with Randy?
Your first argument with Randy? I don't know if I know that. Or maybe I do and I can't remember.
When I say this word, you're gonna, when I say this, you're probably gonna remember doors.
Was it something about?
Doors open, no Adams.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. The are you talking about the width of them or the whole? They're not automatic.
They
so
go. One goes one way, the other one goes the other.
Exactly. It does. It gets very tricky because you have to hold, you know, kind of have someone holding both doors.
Yeah.
And even then, I don't think there's enough room
It's like.
in that.
It's like people don't look at that as a difficulty if they can walk in the door and hold the door themselves, you know?
Yeah, and there's, like you said, there's two doors.
Yeah.
And one goes one way, one goes the other, and then you're kind of in the middle,
Yeah.
trying to balance it both to get
Here
out.
we are in a disabled situation. You guys are supposed to be a disabled agency that helps the disabled. And quite frankly, you were correcting it, but I mean, when you think about it from being the outside, how strange is that?
Yeah, you wouldn't think of it, I got. You're right, until
You're,
you came across it.
your point, believe me, it's been that way for a while, but being up there, I can speak on it with definite authority because, yeah, and
That's a good point.
one of the things that I think needs to change, and I'm trying to figure out a way to do this with the fire department and the building inspector and all that. I don't know if you've been down in Pittsburgh housing in 65 Columbus Avenue.
I have not. I've not been in there, actually.
What that is it's Pittsburgh Housing Plus. They're in one of the major apartment buildings in Pittsfield.
Yes.
But one of the situations is, in order to go in there, you have to be able to use the elevator independently.
Oh.
Okay. And I tried to go in there, and because I couldn't use the elevator independently, they wouldn't accept me.
Wow. Now that's a.
So here's a situation where you've got the housing authority with a building. You're supposed to be helping the elderly and helping the disabled, but
yeah.
you got no access to, you know. And I said to them, I said, all it's gonna take me is a couple minutes to get to know people on my floor, and somebody walk downstairs and somebody to go downstairs in the elevator with me at night if I want to go down. And they said no.
Wow.
And I can't even, under the law, you can't even put something on the tray.
Wow, really?
Push the button. Because if it was stationary, if I velcroed something to the tray, it could go through the switch and then through the wall, and then I could damage the switch and cause a fire. And that's according to the building inspector and the fire department. So something's got to change so that people like me can be more independent.
And that's where it gets hindered, you're right. Like, we need to change as a whole.
And if people would stop fighting politically and, you know, I don't care what your opinion is about who's going to be president and stuff. These are some of the things we need to work on. I mean, whoever's going to be president will be president. You know, I mean, we've still got to work with the people we've got to work with, and we've still got to do things for the citizens that live here, not politically, you know.
We need to do a lot better.
Bicker about what's, you know, this one did this, or where this one lived when this one was, you know. You know.
Like, let's talk about the real issues.
Yeah.
You know.
Let's not play games here. I ain't got time to play games. And sometimes I play games in the office, but you know, joke around and stuff, but pretty much most of the time I go in there with a targeted, you know, situation. And little did I know, I'm actually working with your neighbor.
Oh, yes, you are.
Yeah.
It took me a minute. I'm like, yes, you are. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. On Tuesdays when I see you.
On Fridays too. I'm doing both days. I'm working with you both days.
Very nice.
I'm helping over their internship.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's very, I was telling them, that's very cool.
So that's kind of, you know, I just.
Have you been enjoying it, like your time?
Yeah, but I do that all the. I used to go in schools. I used to. Maybe this is something you and Kristen can work on together, or we can work on it as a team, you and I, if we want to. I'd love to get together with the families on the family side and
Oh, yeah.
sit down and talk to them and see what they need and see what kind
That'd be nice. I know you kind of do it now coming into both offices, but maybe doing like another info session type thing, like at night or something where families can stop in, ask you anything, get your views and perspectives.
Or just have a summit to get somebody, just have a office time during the day, but if we gotta shut down the, I hate to do this, but even shut down the drive-in for a day and just have families come in and, you know.
Absolutely. I think it's a great idea.
I don't recommend cold time shutting down the drive-in centers, but we happen to have two.
We do, and I think it's an important topic.
So, because as I was saying earlier, I think the support of families is not any more important but as important as working with individuals themselves.
And connecting those families too.
Because
I think that's...
if the families don't have the strength and the knowledge and the understanding of what their individual needs or what their certain circumstances are and the frustrations of the clients, how much of a support can the families be if they don't understand what some of the struggles are?
Definitely, and like I said, connecting those families too. I think families bounce a lot of good ideas off of each other. And, you know, new community connections as well along the lines of that.
Well, we got a few minutes left. I spoke about what's the best part of your job, but we could probably spend another hour on this, but what is your biggest frustration that you've seen as an assistant director, and how do you think either I can or the system can help to change it, or what do we have to do to even get the ball rolling for the change? I mean.
Yeah, so I think, you know, funding is a big thing, which obviously we can't control. But funding is very important in a lot of those things. But I also think, you know, something you can bring is like an idea, maybe when we have new staff, sitting down and talking with you, because you do have that knowledge and you do have the perspective and you do have the background of UCP. I think, you know, maybe just getting people more involved, getting people to really see what's out there too, and learning about what's in your community, what's in your agency. Because I feel like sometimes there's staff, you know, that don't even know like the different departments and things like that. I think just really knowing, you know, what your agency's about and what community options you have as well to connect with other
I can kind
agencies.
quite frankly, and I don't normally do this, but I'm always new. I'm always doing new and weird things. I think part of my situation and part of the way people don't know how to take me sometimes is I know what I've dealt with through the years. I know what's actually bullshit and what's not bullshit. You know, I mean, I know what's a real problem versus what somebody doesn't want to deal with. You know,
Absolutely, and I think,
there's a huge difference between somebody not knowing what to do genuinely and somebody just not wanting to deal with.
and that's, I think time is the biggest thing. Spending time and just getting to know who you're working with.
Yeah. And I wasn't talking specifically with UCP, but I've seen so many different agencies in my time say, we're not going to spend the time to do that. We got too much paperwork to do.
Yeah, and that's not UCP. We're looking, you know, we're always looking for, like you said earlier, out of the box. That's what we're striving for, to do things that other people aren't doing that are gonna benefit people in the long run.
And folks, UCP does not have all the answers. And some agencies are better than others, but all you need is time, all you need is patience, and UCB will come around and say, we don't think we can handle this one, or
Yeah, or I get, you know, calls all the time, and I'll be very honest, you know, I don't, or we don't provide this, but here, I can pinpoint you and direct you to someone that can. So even if we can't, we have those connections that we can. give to
Or
people.
like I said, yeah, I know you were the assistant director, and I know Kristen, and I know Jennifer is higher up than you, but I can start the ball rolling with recommendations, and you can start thinking outside the box just because I mentioned something. Why
Yeah.
don't you try this, or
And I think it'd be good for staff and members to kind of give you some ideas to bounce off of, some recommendations to get that going, hearing from the people that need it and want it.
yeah, but getting the families to realize that yes, I'm not an employee of UCB, but I'm a,
You have the experience from everywhere.
I can be a big resource, and I can be a sounding board for people that are frustrated, and I can take the frustration to the mayor, I can take the frustration to the governor, you know, I can invite people on the show, I can point them in the direction for discussions off the air, and point them in the direction of the client if they want to, but somebody needs to be there to pick up the slack and say, okay, this client really needs help, but doesn't have the resources or doesn't know how to pick up the phone and get the ball rolling.
And that's how it starts, right? As simple conversations. Just talking back and forth, bouncing ideas off of each other.
I know sometimes your schedule is kind of crazy, but now that you've done this once, I would be more than happy to do this again at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I think this was a great jumping point for it.
Just kind of, because, like we said, different people have different perspectives. Kristen might look at it more from the programmatic side. You might look at it, hey, I work for the clients. You know, the programmatic side may have to go to the wayside for a minute. Not that you don't need paperwork and funding and stuff, but I mean.
But the people come first.
Yeah.
The people you support come first, in my opinion.
Yeah. And this is only mine, Kaylee's opinions. This does not reflect the opinion of UCB or anybody that's affiliated with UCB or the opinion of Pittsburgh Community Television.
Correct.
But I think you and I can, now that we're both in both offices,
Both off, yeah. Both in both locations.
I can kind of, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes per time that I'm up there, you know, one time a month, just coming in for half an hour and just
Yeah, and just chatting.
sitting down and saying, okay, what did you run into this month? What can I?
Yeah, what can maybe you help us with? What can we benefit? Yeah.
I mean, I know Jennifer's schedule is a little tight, but I mean, your schedule is a little more flexible.
Well, yeah.
Not as much, but not as flexible you might want it. But,
Right. Some weeks are better than others.
but feel free to, and I can refer you to other clients that I've dealt with, and we can get them involved.
Yeah, get the conversations going.
So,
Absolutely.
Kaylee, how do people get a hold of you, and where's the best location to get a hold of you, and based on what information they need? Is it
Yeah.
get a hold of you and you figure out which office they need to contact her.
And that's, I was going to say, that's kind of it. If you call the main office, any main office, the Pittsfield or North Adams, you will get one of two of our lovely administrative assistants, and you would just ask for me. And once I figured out kind of what you were looking for, then I can divvy that out into the right department, or maybe it's me, or a different agency. We're kind of that information referral center right now, and I'm still doing it, but I do have another employee who is going to be stepping in, so she will kind of be doing that referral as well. But if you call either office and you ask for me, I can pretty much always steer you in the right direction, whether it's within us or outside.
Even if Kelly can't do it and you can't find anybody else,
Yep.
you can even ask me.
Yeah, exactly. Just ask for Brian. He's in one of those, one of the offices too.
Because I can't direct you for services per se, but I can give you the person to talk to get you into a referral situation, or because we have both closed referral and open referral services too. So, and the closed referrals are more complicated than the open referrals, because open referrals you can just walk in the door and get services right away, and the closed door you gotta kind of
Right.
do the political side and get accepted in the programs and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But if we don't have it, somebody else will. So.
Exactly, and we're, like yourself, Brian, and the rest of the staff at UCP, everyone's very knowledgeable. So you will get to where you gotta go and in the right direction.
You may get a little frustrated, and I may get a little frustrated because of the way the system is, but
we do the best we can.
we can get you to where you need to be.
Exactly.
Kelly, I think you and I covered a lot, and I really appreciate it, and we will look at and I'm not opposed to bringing an individual down.
Absolutely.
If you have any individuals that most can and are willing to share any
I think that's a great idea.
or any families that were willing to share.
I love that idea.
Situations, I think you and I can take some of the weight off of Jennifer, because I'm just trying to get her on.
Oh yeah.
to more with the fact that she's got so much going on. I think between you, me, and Kristen, and all the other staff, I think we've got it pretty well covered. So.
Well, thank you for having me, Brian.
I appreciate it, and I'll in about a little less than 12 hours. I'll see you tomorrow.
And I'll see you tomorrow.
As people may not know, I'm in Pittsfield on Tuesdays and North Adams on Fridays from 10 a.m. to 1:15 and 1 o'clock. Anybody want to stop by either one of those locations, feel free to do so, and look me up and talk to Kelly or me, and we'll point you in the right direction. Thank you, folks, and we will see you all next week.
You can bury the workman, but the work will go on. You can silence the voices, but you can't stop the song. 'Cause when the spirit's moving is where we'll be done. but the work will go